Have you ever been serving an individual and you keep asking yourself, why do they keep doing that? Or you have these situations where you don't really understand what's going on and how things are all pulling together. If you're having that experience, you might need a chain analysis, or as some people refer to it, a functional analysis. So on today's video, what we're gonna do is break down how to do it well, and how we use that information to serve our individuals better. So welcome to Dr. Brinen's Clinical Bites. Hi, I'm Dr. Brinen. I'm a psychologist and I'm a co-creator of recovery-oriented cognitive therapy. And on this channel, we help providers who are trying to serve individuals to move toward their recovery goals. And on this series, Clinical Bites, we want to deliver skills to busy providers so they can level up and continue to serve the individuals they want in efficient ways. And so today, we're going to focus in on a key skill we can all have, the chain analysis. So often, in supervision or consultation, I come in contact with providers who are telling me what they're doing, but oftentimes we struggle to figure out why we need to do what we need to do. Further, so many of us can be frustrated by trying to figure out, why does the individual keep doing what they're doing? Whenever that comes up, you have that question, why do they keep doing that? Whatever that is, we can use a chain analysis. Chain analysis or functional analysis, it's been around since the beginning of psychotherapy, particularly the beginning of CBT. It allows us to take a step back and not try to solve the problem, but it helps us to develop an understanding of the problem. Once we have an understanding of what's going on, we have so many more options to figure out how to serve this individual better. But more importantly, we have a way of collaborating with the individual and drawing them into the decision-making process. Here's how we do a chain analysis. 1, identify when you need it. If you're sitting and you don't understand why an experience is happening, why an individual keeps doing what they're doing, and sometimes, honestly, if you feel inside yourself a sense of frustration of not understanding the individual, that's the time you can ask yourself, do I have all the information? And would I benefit from getting more information? That's when we want to use the chain analysis. So the first thing we do in the chain analysis is we want to identify a specific situation. One of the biggest mistakes people make in CBT is they ask folks about general situations. What's going on when you feel angry? What's going on when you're depressed? What's going on when you hear your voices? Those are general times. What we really want to do is focus in on a specific situation. When was the last time you heard your voices? And they go, oh, I hear my voices when in my room. Great. When was a specific time that you can remember? The reason we want a specific example is when we have a specific example, we're more likely to get specific answers and specific understanding as to why what's going on is going on. So it fuels our strategy much better. So find out, last Tuesday when you were in your room, you were feeling down and the voices started telling you that you're terrible. That's a specific situation. When I sit in my room, that's not a specific situation. So number 1, we're going to get a specific situation. Then what we want to do is we want to ask the individual to revisit that situation. We want them to use their imagination to bring it to life again. So many times I ask, walk me through it. I want to see it the way you see it. In my mind, in order to get a really good chain analysis, I oftentimes follow this simple approach. I have an order of the information that I'm drawing out. Now, the individual might give me the information in any order that they choose. But for me, as I'm poking and pulling for more information, I'm going to go in this order because I believe that it oftentimes gets individuals to imagine the situation and really step back into it. Imagination gives us a really good opportunity. Instead of them reporting like they're answering questions on a fill-in-the-blank test, imagining it gets them to step back into it, almost like a VR headset. And so they're not recalling what happened. They're actually just reporting at what they're seeing in front of them at any given moment. So the first thing I ask people to do is to just walk me through the situation. I ask them to describe what's going on. Almost just the facts, ma'am, right? So they might walk through that I was in my room after dinner, I was laying on my bed, I was just staring at the wall, I started hearing the voices tell me that I'm terrible, and I started yelling at them. And so just having them describe what's happening. Oftentimes, I try to make that image much more vivid. I'll ask them to specifically describe what they saw, what they were looking at, the color of their wall, any of those things to really get them to visualize it much, much more. That's going to allow them more access to what was actually going on at the moment. Every time the individual goes through the story, I'm going to repeat it back to them and then prime and pull for little pieces to fill in the holes in the chain. So after describing the situation, oftentimes I'm going to pull for the feelings that they were having along the way. Sure, we may be looking for cognitions eventually, but one of the things to recall, and has been described in many CBT textbooks, is that individuals are more aware of the feelings that they're having than they are of what's going through their mind. So oftentimes, as they're describing, I'm sitting in my room, I'll go, oh, what was that like for you? And so when I say, what was that like for you? That's a great way of pulling out feelings. Because I'm not going to be using lots of jargon, right? What was your automatic thought? What was your affect? What were your, I want people just to describe exactly what is happening at the time and have it just fall out of their mouth. So I'll ask, what was that like for you? And so they'll say, I was sad, I was down, I was frustrated, I was anxious, whatever those things are. And so I incorporate that into the story. So you're laying on your bed and you're feeling really anxious. And so as we go through the story, I'm gonna look for the times I'm gonna go, what went through your mind? What were you telling yourselves? Again, I'm avoiding jargon and I'm just pulling at the experience. And really what I'm looking for are whether automatic thoughts. I might also get some of the beliefs that they have at that point. But I ask the person, okay, so you felt anxious, what were you telling yourself? And again, I'm pointing at my head because it's really helping them figure out where to look as they're journeying through this image. So what was that like for you? What were you telling yourself? And then we're gonna say, what did you do? They might yell back, they might put a pillow over their head so they can't hear things. They might call for their parent. And so I'm gonna keep repeating back that chain from the beginning to the end. And I'm gonna ask them to just fill it in. So I should be able to step into that story, into that memory, and I should be able to do exactly what that individual did. And we can see what are all the pieces that are happening. At the end of the chain analysis, I'm going to repeat back the whole thing to them from the beginning to the end as I've sort of filled in all of the experiences. And I'm going to check if I'm correct. I'm going to fill in all of the pieces. I'm going to help to organize the memory as they're going through. Here's an example of a chain analysis.
Okay, so you wanted to go to the job interview, but you just can't get out of bed. So walk me through it. I want to see the way you see it. So you were laying in bed on Tuesday morning and you knew you had the job interview and your alarm went off. Walk me through it. Oh, okay. So you're laying in bed and the alarm goes off and you're under the covers. And then did you think about getting up or did you not think about getting up? Okay, you thought about getting up. And then what happened? Okay, so you didn't have the energy to get up. And then you stayed in bed? Did your energy go up or down? Okay, so your energy went down. And then you stayed in bed. And then how did you feel afterwards? Oh, you're frustrated because you didn't get out of bed. So take me all the way back to the beginning. The alarm goes off and you're in bed. What's that like for you? Okay, so you're feeling really, really low energy. And so you're feeling low energy and you're thinking that you should get up and get the job. When you're telling yourself, I need to go get the job, what's that like for you inside? So you're feeling stressed. And then you tell yourself, I don't have the energy. So you stay in bed and then the energy goes down. Have I got that right? And then afterwards, you feel frustrated, like, why try? Nothing works out anyway. Okay. I want to go all the way back to the beginning again and go through it and see if I've got it right. So the alarm goes off, you know you have the job interview, and inside your body, you feel like you don't have the energy. Have I got that part right so far? Okay, good. And so then it sounds like you tell yourself, I can't do it until I get the energy. Is that right? And so you stay in bed because you don't have the energy, but the energy never comes and it goes lower and lower and lower. And so then you tell yourself again, I can't do it till I get the energy. And so then you just stay in bed, but the job interview passes. And then you feel frustrated, and then you tell yourself, see, nothing works out anyway. Have I got that all right? Okay, let's see if we can think about some things.
One of the things you might notice is I go through that chain multiple times. As soon as I get to the end, I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning to make sure I fill in all of the pieces. I'm gonna find out what was happening before the event happened, during the event, and I'm also going to find out what were the consequences of the event. That way the individual fills in all of the pieces for me and I can see it really clearly. And you can also start seeing that as we're going through the chain analysis, it's becoming more and more clear, or we're coloring in all of the lines. Some providers get worried that individuals will get annoyed or frustrated, that we keep repeating what's going on. In my experience, many of the individuals I serve are never really listened to or have not been listened to in a really long time. So the chain analysis allows them to be heard and validated for the experiences that they're having. One warning is that the chain analysis isn't about solving the problem. The chain analysis is about gathering data and gathering information. So as the individual says different things, it's not the time to jump in with an intervention and try and shift their cognition, correct what they're saying, or provide them with a skill. It's just like my wife always says to me, Aaron, don't solve the problem, I just want you to listen. I'm trying to get better at it, I hope I will one day. Once we have the chain analysis, it provides us a number of routes for serving this individual and helping them move forward in their recovery. When you've repeated back the full chain, the individual has said, yes, that's right. At that point, we can ask, can we try some things? Can we think through some things? You can provide a list of opportunities for intervening and helping them feel better. You can even walk them through that if we work on this piece, here's the way these pieces might work out. If we work on this piece, this is what I would anticipate would happen. And so you can really play out for them what you anticipate will happen, and then together as a team, you choose where you want to go. Chain analysis is a crucial early step and ongoing step in any type of good cognitive behavioral therapy, and particularly in recovery-oriented cognitive therapy. Again, if you don't know why something's happening, it's your go-to move. It helps validate the person's experience, help them feel understood, and it gives you a roadmap for serving that individual. If this was helpful for you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know a time that you thought a chain analysis would be useful. And if you want more information on approaches to psychosis, check out my book, Living Well with Psychosis. It's a practical guide written to the individuals that we serve. It's available anywhere you buy books. And if you like this clinical bite, let me know, and I'm going to try to make more of these for providers. And also, if you're an individual, these give you a sense of what are the providers in your life doing to help you move forward. And you can even try these things yourself a little bit. So until next time, check out this playlist of other clinical bites from the past, and I'll see you in the next one. Be well.